Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you happen to be. Welcome to another episode of Talks with the Tax Cop. Y'all, I'm getting pretty good at this because y'all know normally I be tongue-tied like it's crazy, okay? So anybody that's run over to the YouTube, know that you can watch this recording there. Those who are listening, y'all, this is an honor and a privilege for you all to be listening in on today's podcast. The reason why is because I have an innovator, a trendsetter in this space, somebody who's taken action, saw a problem, put a solution, and happens to have some credentials behind her name, okay? Because there's a lot of people who toot and stick their chest out in our space. And my last couple of podcasts have been with people in my industry, right? And so today I'm honored to be able to connect with a sister. We're on two different coasts who has created something to help us get our stuff in order and do it with diligence. All right. So I have to introduce the owner, the founder, the creator of ComplYant. Y'all got to go see how she write this, right? Because I like when stuff come out the right ways. First of all, I'm an accountant, and I love when stuff work. Y'all know I like compliance. The tax cop love it to be done right. But her branding on this compliance and what her company does is absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely new to the space and something that we all need to pay attention to, especially for these small business owners. I have none other than Miss Shiloh Johnson that we are bringing to the stage at Talks with the Tax Cop, so she can do an introduction even better than I have done, and so we can get down into the meat of it, so I can understand.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be speaking with you and addressing your audience and hopefully supporting y'all and giving y'all something that you can leave with that's helpful. So where do we start? You want me to do
I do. I want
okay.
Let the people know, for those of you who do not know, because I had to go do my research, right? I was telling Shiloh, her people's reached out and say, hey, I think your space is a good space to have conversation. And I was like, y'all, social media, tech, all this kind of stuff, that's the one kind of thing, right? I will use it for work if somebody make a recommendation, but y'all already know I don't like to get on Instagram like that. I really prefer not to, even though I know I need to. Not because I don't want to interact with y'all, but just because it's overwhelming. When we're not good in the space, we feel overwhelmed. And so I want her to share. I want Shiloh, I really want to know, how did you get here in tech?
Not
all of us in tech.
No,
and then
almost none.
Right, and then with accounting, and when I tell my clients about you, because I've done my research, you're like, y'all gotta go check out ComplYant. Come on, this is how I talk for real. And they go and look, and the first thing that jumps out to them is, she raised $5 million. That's right, $5 million in capital in this space to be able to launch her successful brand, her successful company. So tell them, really, I want the backstory. What made you decide as a CPA that people weren't satisfied and you had what it took to deliver in this space?
Oh, goodness, that's a good one. So I'll take you back a little bit. 15 years ago, after I graduated college, I went and worked in what's called, for those of you listening, like basically, like, so there's public accounting and then there's like private accounting where you go and work for a corporation. I did that. So I worked in public just enough to get my licensure approved. And then I went and worked in private accounting because the hours were better. So I could work a 9 to 5 and then go home. And there was no crazy tax season because we would outsource the actual filing of our income tax returns, then everything else would live in-house. So we ran everything else. So like sales tax, business personal property, business license, all of that was the tax team I was on. I did that for a very long time for some very old legacy retail companies that have been around for a bazillion and 1 years. And there was a lot of security, and I was very happy with the fact that my health insurance was good and the paychecks came every 2 weeks. But something actually happened. I ended up running an audit, a sales tax audit for the state of Texas. This specific company was all over the country. And we had an audit in the state of Texas. And I ended up finding a loophole in the tax code that ended up saving the company like $4 million. I did not get a thing.
Wait. She's trying to, no, Shiloh. Y'all. Okay, anybody who listening now, I know y'all going crazy over Inflation Reduction Act and IRS is coming. Did y'all hear what the sister said? She said she ended up doing a sales tax audit and found a loophole. Now, this is not illegal, right?
No.
A loophole.
Yep.
And was able to save her client not one, not two, not three, not millions.
They ended up saving so much money, and I didn't get anything. I didn't get a bonus. I didn't get a card. I didn't get a.
They didn't give you no Amazon card or nothing.
A pat on the back. You're doing a good job. We'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, oh no, there has got to be another way. You mean to tell me I think I was fed up with like I didn't have control over my earning potential. It was like your potential is X. And there was something in my heart, my spirit just wouldn't sit right with that. Like, you don't get to tell me what my potential is. I can do more than this. And so that set the course of me like, oh, no, I'm going to start my own practice. And just so happened, I ended up reaching out to a mentor of mine. I didn't know her. I cold emailed her. I saw her in a magazine. She runs the largest Black-owned business management firm out of LA. I was like, I'm going to email her. And I did. So lesson number one, take risks. I emailed her and she responded. And she ended up being a believer and just a beautiful woman, a Black woman. And she's like, hey, I got these tax clients that we are oversubscribed on. I can't do anything with them. Do you want them? And I was like, yes. So I ended up
turnkey, baby, go get
turnkey. I wasn't even expecting it. So I said, okay, this is what I should be doing. So I left my very stable job and I started out on my own. I gave myself 6 months. It happened in one. And I ended up using the extra money. I ended up actually tripling my income. I kept my money the same as it was when I was working for a company, and everything else I put up, like just to the side and said, I'm gonna do something with this. I just haven't figured out what yet. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks. While I'm serving like my B and C list celebrities and all their tax issues, I kept getting like all these inquiries from these really small businesses that had, like egregious tax issues. Some folks had companies for 10, 15 years, never paid income tax, were now getting audited. I had people who didn't even know what sales tax was, people who didn't know what business licenses were. People who were just, one woman was charging sales tax and then keeping the money. I said, oh, child, you want to go to jail. It was just a hot
look at the video because my face, I'm like, oh, I'm literally clutching the pearls. Like, whose money? Yeah. Whose money? Y'all have no idea. That is not your money. Anybody that's listening, don't keep it. Find out who to pay to. Go find a state. If you've been doing that, stop it today.
Stop it. Don't do it. Stop it today. And I realized like there is a massive gap for small businesses between like, I just started business and I have enough money that I can pay a qualified CPA. All these people that were coming to me couldn't afford my fee structure. So I was either doing it pro bono at deeply, deeply, deeply discounted, or I was trying to find people I could refer them to, but the people they could afford were bookkeepers. So lesson number one for people who don't know much about the difference between accounting roles, if you're listening, a bookkeeper is not the same as an accountant, which is not the same as a CPA. These people all do very different things and are qualified at different levels. Yes. And what was happening is I'm getting all these people that had like these books that were all messed up and like weren't keeping books at all, but like, well, I have bank statements. Oh, okay. Well, and there's just like a knowledge gap that was happening right there when you're super new and you can't quite afford anybody, and you're too small to pay somebody that's actually qualified to tell you what to do, specifically in tax, because tax is basically legal, right? It's a layout of all the things that you're required to pay to some jurisdiction somewhere at some period of time. And there was nobody doing anything. And I knew this because I was looking for software. I love tech. I was like, okay, there's got to be some kind of Intuit product that I could send these people to that could start them out, similar to like a LegalZoom or something. Couldn't find anything.
You're right. You're right.
Couldn't find anything. And then I said, well, I'll build it. It does now. So because at that point I just was like noodling on notes. And my mom actually was the catalyst that set me on fire. She came over. This is all like in a 2-week span. She came over and she used to have like a makeup airbrushing kind of company.
Okay.
And she'd come over with all these notices and she was like, I don't know what to do with these. Can you help me? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I literally registered my corp like that day. And I was like off to the races. So all the money I had saved up, I saved up about 50,000, and I put that money into building ComplYant early days. So I went in all my own money, and then I used that to basically catapult it, and then we went into fundraise mode. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Because what I hear, Shiloh, is not only did you identify a gap. So I'm a former auditor, right? So I was a federal auditor at Department of Defense for 16 years, in the OIG shop, in the Department of Commerce for 5. So, so I took my leap of faith just as the pandemic was coming. Hold on, because I'm not advertising. The panini, that's what I call it. The panini, panini was coming. The COVID with the number was coming, and not because. So I'm a mother of 4.
Okay.
And so they were at home, we was at home, and I've always done tax. I've always had the tax business the entire time. I absolutely love tax. I'm an enrolled agent, right? Not because the CPA. So I'm a little bit older. I took the CPA exam when you had to sit in a warehouse for 2 days and take all 4 parts. And it took me about time 7 to realize, girl, you're not even sitting here to at least get a 50 on parts to be able to keep your stuff. So that I'm a little bit, I mean, I know I look 22, but
you do.
I'm a little bit older, and it was just like, oh, but because I love tax, I decided to go a different route and decided to go the EA route. Right. And I wish I had known this in college, because like, definitely, I love all the collaboration. Like, all I want to do is tax. All I want to do is tax planning. All I want to do is help people with tax. I really, and my heart is for that realm that you're talking about, because my client niche is when you, from initiation to like 10 years, just to help you get a foundation, that I want to push you on to somebody else, because like you said, there's so much that needs to be done, and somebody got to take care of y'all. Now I ain't gonna lie, for some of my clients who listen, and they like, yay, y'all, a change is coming. I just want y'all to know, because I understand Shiloh to drop something, the value, all this kind of stuff, and the price. Y'all understand I got 20 plus years of experience as an auditor and 20 plus years in accounting. So I can't keep always loving on y'all the way I'm loving on y'all. Right? And so what she did was she found a need and a way to love on y'all. And so she created and she said, now, first of all, she said she saved up her coins, y'all, in the business. So all my business owners looking out here to spend everything, y'all making money, and y'all got these profits, and y'all don't know where to put this stuff. She
in the savings account,
her cash, because she knew she was gonna reinvest in the business. So y'all don't always gotta spend it to zero. I know y'all listening to sound bites on the social media. And they like, S corporation, and do this and spend all the coins and get a car, get a G-Wagon, and get a Louis Vuitton. Like, y'all, this is what she said. Because I'm going, Shiloh, we're gonna talk about these nuggets you dropped in there suddenly, just telling the story. Okay. She saved her cash. She walked out on faith. She said, you know what? Y'all not using me. I done paid these people $4 million, and y'all didn't give me, I want some balloons, something. Okay. Y'all got me a Starbucks card and said, you know what? I know my earning potential still exists. Because you chose to cap me out, but I know deep down there's more in me. And she said it took her a month. And then she started stacking stuff, and she didn't go and ball out like a basketball player wife, right?
No. In fact, I didn't even have a car. I didn't have a car for the first 2 years. I have kids also, so I have 3. And my kids are older. They're now in college. Everybody's in college. But when this was happening, we're talking about a little bit pre-pandemic, so 2019. And I basically I would save a little bit, put some in the college bop for the kids, and then I would do what I needed to do with my bills. I didn't have a car for 2 years,
No,
all the
I
pandemic.
heard a
I just
sacrifice.
got a car.
Shauna, what kind of car do you got?
I got the Tesla. It was me supporting myself after not having a car.
Right, she gifted herself because she can give Elon and them her money because she stacked it, and she helping the environment. Okay,
There you go.
She didn't ball out. Y'all watching this stuff? Go, Lisa. She didn't look it. She sacrificed. She put a plan in place. She served her community. Y'all, she also said something that a lot of us don't do. She said, my mentor, that didn't know she was my mentor right at the time, because some of us have those, let's be real.
Yeah.
She emailed. So everything I hear you saying, Shiloh, was I invested in me, I believed in me, and I trusted and had faith and walked out on faith instead of lollying in fear.
Yes. And sometimes we will mask the faith as I'm waiting for the higher power to move, when truthfully the higher power is waiting for you to move. And so the action has to come along with the faith, and then you will be met in the middle with a victory. I didn't come here to preach, but I'm just saying.
No, but that's the scripture that say faith without works. I'm just gonna tell. I don't. You know what I'm saying? We not. She didn't preach. But I didn't. She just gave you an example of what the scripture has said, what the prescription was. Okay, just a tad bit of what the prescription was. Okay, so and then she said, I love how a lot of times it speeds up. Cause you were like, oh, y'all heard this timeline. She said, yo, we talking in the last 5 years, all of this stuff started happening, right?
Oh, in the last 2 years. Yeah.
Oh.
2-3 years. Yeah. We're Johnny on the spot over here.
It's happening in the last 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
So right before that, y'all come on now. I feel your Holy Ghost, right? Right before the storm came.
Yeah.
All the stuff you planned on the backside of the mountain, all the stuff that you was poured into you, you went and then all of a sudden,
and the storm was so perfect that when the panini hit, it put a lot of people down. But the interesting thing about tax, as you know, is it's recession proof. It'll survive everything. It's like a roach. It will be here long after civilization. It will still be here.
It's a roach. I love it.
It is. It just survives because it's one of the very few things. It's death and taxes. You can count on it every time. It's never going to go away. It's not like retail. It's not like other service businesses where no matter what, you're going to have to pay some tax authority something. Every country in the world has some kind of tax basis. It's how the country stays running. So I knew even with all of what was happening, I just hunkered down. We were all at home anyway. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get to work. And I just hammered it out. I worked through it.
Now let's talk about your team. Cause I actually went to the website and then looked at your team. Now she said 2-3 years and your team is like 20 plus.
Yeah, 27. Yeah.
Plus. She got it, y'all. She got all ethnicity. She got all backgrounds. She got all kinds of skill sets. She got a couple of y'all, I was digging. I was like, okay, I gotta ask. She got engineers. She got tax research specialists. She built it all in, and she features them. This is what is lovely. She's like, yes, I came up with the idea. Yes, I'm the founder.
Yeah.
But this is my team because we can't get nowhere without our team.
Exactly right.
How did you find your team?
Yeah. Oh, I love talking about teams. So the first person I actually ever hired was an old coworker of mine. I worked a few jobs prior. I had worked with another woman who was also in the tax team, and she was ready to leave her role for it, stepping out and just jumping off the cliff to do something fun. And I was like, great, come over here and help me build this tech company. And she was like, I don't know anything about tech. That's okay. I was paying her. So that early investment money I had, I was using that to pay her. She was helping me get some of the base things off the ground so that I wasn't spending my time doing things that wasn't going to further the tool and get it along a little bit faster. So she was the first person I brought in. I paid her out of pocket before we ever raised any money. And then from that point, the tool got far enough that I could sort of prove it out to what's called proof of concept. So we got our proof of concept off the ground enough that we could sort of validate it and get outside investment in. So this all happened in a span of 6 months. So I brought her on. She was my first employee. She's still with us. And then we ended up getting first investment. And at that point, we hired our first sort of 4 full-time people onto the company. And then from then, we've just been growing. The interesting thing about tech is time is really all you have. Your idea isn't super unique. And this is for anybody who's considering doing anything new in a space that they're not familiar with, like, oh, somebody's doing it before. Absolutely, somebody has already done it before. I am not the first tax tool. I am probably not the first tax research tool. I am not the first of anything. And that isn't the goal. The goal isn't to be unique or the first. The goal is to be the fastest. Execution is your leg up in this industry. If you can execute and get it out fast, you will win the race or whatever the goal is. And with that being said, your team, you obviously can't do much by yourself. And the further you go, the more customers you get, the harder it is to support them. Even if you're just running a small firm, party of one, it's even difficult as a party of one with a handful of clients to run that. Even that, you're like, how do I get an assistant? How do I get some help? Because it's difficult to run things by yourself. Yeah, you only can be so big when you're alone. And sometimes people, I think, are afraid to bring on help because they're like, I can't afford it. But I always say this every talk I ever give. People are going to get sick of hearing me say this, but you can't afford not to. You have to make the investment, even if it's finding overseas labor, outsourced labor, even if it's just having somebody come in part-time, even if it's just a few hours a week, whatever you can afford to do, it is worth it because the money you are spending doing the ticky-tack work that you're doing, you could be paying someone else to do that work and you could recommit that time to bringing in more revenue. But you're not doing that because you're too busy filing or you're too busy like washing the sidewalk or you like the things that need to be done are serving the customers, not you washing the sidewalk. And so hiring someone to wash the sidewalk so that you can serve the customers can now afford you to be able to pay someone to wash the sidewalk. And I think that's the relationship we always have backwards in hiring. So I try to be really intentional about how we grow the team and making sure the parts are there to support the goals over the next year.
So more on teams. Do you hire to a position, skill set? Come on, for our small owners, or because a lot of times, like, oh, I want to hire Susie because I know I can help her and I can give her this, and this. Do you know?
No.
Small business owners will be able to do that. They'll be like, girl, but I could, right? Or they don't, because we're gonna go back to that bookkeeper, accountant, CPA, right? Professional.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to that topic because a lot of times we think, oh, I got it, especially because I have tech. Now I'll tell you, I'll give you a story. I had to relaunch my website because I jacked that joint up. So I got somebody to do me a page. I thought I knew what I was doing because Wix had told me that I could do it, and they got some tutorials and I could do it. I jacked that thing up. Web building is not my ministry, right? At all.
Right, gotcha.
It's costing me, but we got some things in the works that's coming because we got some courses coming and some things. And the website, we just republished it. It's more beautiful, looks what it's supposed to. But I can admit where I thought I was going to do it myself.
Yeah.
You need to go get some help, girl, because you need to do what you're good at. Figure out what you're good at. And so the reason why I asked that question is because I actually had a skill set in mind. I knew the person I wanted to talk to do it because I had seen some of their stuff, but it was based off of their bona fides in the workforce. Like I seen their stuff and said, I need to work with you. Yeah. I don't have the skill set. This is where I suck.
Yeah.
How many small business owners are like when you're building your stuff, and your team gets together, y'all get down and y'all say, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this. And they said, Shiloh, we need somebody who's good at this.
Yes,
what 100%. Do we got to do to bring them in?
100%. The interesting thing about tech, especially when you're getting outside investment, is they're investing in you. Outside investors are giving you money based on your ability to objectively look at the company and then bring the pieces that need to come together. What I see a lot, my partner has a small business, and he absolutely is guilty of this, is he has the helpful heart. So he will bring people into his business that just need $20, and he'll have them come and work. And it ends up becoming a waste for him because they don't have the skills to do what he actually needs done, but he'll lower the bar so that he can help them. And the downside about that is it costs him. He would have been better off just giving them the money. It would have saved him more money and more time if he would have just given them versus bringing them in and helping. I think it is unbelievably imperative that you fill your team with people that are smarter than you. When we are scared to hire people that are smarter than us because we think that means that it will outrun us. But there is something unique and beautiful about you, the person, that nobody can be you. Nobody can. You are you. I have CPAs, I have tax lawyers, I have people who are way smarter than me tax-wise. And I am seasoned in tax, and I have people who are a cut above me because I need the best minds in whatever these fields are to come together and speak for their profession or their expertise and contribute to the overall thing as a whole. I can't see the whole pie. I can only see one slice. And the slice I'm in charge of seeing is managing the people that run that company, supporting the company as a whole, building culture, doing the things that move the business forward, investments. That's the work I'm supposed to do. The work I am not supposed to do is coding. I don't know how to write a line of code. I could probably do a little bit to be dangerous, but that's about it. So I need the best engineers I can find that can come to the table and contribute to the building of the product because they already have the mind to do so. If I only pick somebody that I can keep under my thumb, my product isn't going to go very far because my expertise is limited. Same thing with marketing, same thing with sales. Whatever the thing is that you know you cannot do should be the first thing you hire for, like you were saying. If sales is your weak point, find a good salesperson. And they don't necessarily have to have a very decorated career, but they should have a fair amount of experience that could show you they know how to move whatever you need to move forward. To me, evidence is more important than a resume. I need to see, show me a project, show me a thing you worked on, show me the last thing you were responsible for that moved the needle on something. Give me some examples of the work. I don't need a resume. That's just a decorated piece of paper. And to be fair, I don't even care if you have a degree. I'll do you one better. Some of the best people I have ever seen have come to me, no degree, a handful of years of experience, but passionate, ready to learn, foot on the ground, showing me evidence of things that they have contributed to, excited about how they can contribute to the company. The passion was showing through, the drive was showing through. All of that contributes, in my mind, to what I think is the evolution of the workforce too.
I love it. Let's talk about this evolution of workforce,
Sure.
Especially in our space.
Oh, yeah.
Shiloh, I don't know how much you see the ads that I see.
I do.
Anybody can be an accountant. Anybody can be a bookkeeper. Anybody can do taxes. When we know tax is the beautiful marriage between accounting and law, which is why I love it. Which is absolutely why I love it. And then everybody can do resolution because I'm in the resolution space. Tax help too. Yeah. And that every tax situation is the same. You already laid out. There's personal property tax. There's sales tax. There's this. There's that. Yeah. In this new workspace, or people trying to get into this new space, what would you tell them to say, especially in this virtual or I'm gonna say no walls world, because that's no walls world.
Yeah.
I think there's
probably two parts to that. So the first part, I am a bit of a skeptic. I don't love the social media environment that exists where everybody can be an accountant and everybody knows how to set up their trust and put their car in their child name and get an LLC from their dog. And I don't love it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love it. There's a lot of misinformation happening, and it is happening on the heels of what we saw as one of the largest sort of tax rebate situations we've seen in recent decades, which was PPP, IDL, all this SBA money was floating in the ether. There were grants everywhere. Money was floating everywhere. And all of a sudden, everybody knew what to do with it, how and why. And everybody was an accountant. I've never seen so many accounts in my life. The one thing I will say is for the people who are giving the content, be careful that you are performing an advisory service in digital format, and someone will take your advice, use it, and it will be wrong, and they can then go and sue you. So be very careful about the advice you are giving when you are
because she
not
looking at my
licensed.
face. All these, I can't help it. Honey is hitting on it.
Listen,
Get you
be
some
careful.
insurance. If y'all don't have no insurance and you out here, get you some
Come
business
on.
and liability and all the get
Get some
all the insurances, the
insurance.
cybers, get them all.
Yes.
Protect yourself.
Get them all. Protect it. When you're giving advice virtually, we are very careful. We do a lot of webinars, we do a lot of education too. And we say it's a disclaimer every time we give anything. It's like, we are not licensed in your state. We don't know what are specific rules to your state. This is general information. Please use it as such. Please be careful when you're giving advice virtually, especially if you're doing anything like an Instagram live or a Facebook live, and somebody's asking you, well, my uncle died and I got his trust money. How do I pay tax? That's a case-by-case scenario. Let me connect you with somebody in your state, or here's some resources you should outsource. It's okay. You don't got to take every client that came across your Facebook. Okay. It's okay to say no. Be careful, please, with that. On the consumer side or the customer side, I would just say double, triple, quadruple check your references. My goodness, I have seen and heard so many people have come across saying, I hired one person because I thought they were X and they did not do what I thought they were going to do. And some of that comes from a lack of understanding about the accounting and tax profession, which is what I mentioned earlier. Some people think that bookkeepers actually can file tax and they cannot. So they put the onus or responsibility of tax compliance on a bookkeeper. And then when it isn't getting done, now they're like, what happened? I fully trusted you. The other thing I want to say, and we'll probably come back to that, but the other thing I want to say too is, please stop trusting people wholeheartedly. Learn your own books. Even if you can only read a P&L and a balance sheet, please, you have to learn your own books. I do not recommend, unless you are, massive Apple size. And even the CEO of Apple is reviewing tax returns and quarterlies and monthlies. Like, do not ever assume that you can go blind to the stuff that makes you uncomfortable. And I know money makes us uncomfortable. I know it does. But we have to start getting comfortable in the uncomfortable. There should not be a point in time when your books are running that you don't know what's happening to the money coming in and the money going out. Nobody can tell you better than you, the owner of the business, where your money is going, how, and why. And if you do not know how to read reports, ask the person that's doing the work to teach you. Do not. I cannot stress this enough. People tell me all the time, why don't I have to worry about that? I have a CPA. Good for you. However, I really need you to understand your own books, because how are you making decisions about your business finances, your financial future of the business? How do you know when you need to get money? How do you know if you need an outside capital? How do you know when inventory is lower? Are you going to survive the next year's sales if you're not doing projections and understand how to read projections? We can't ignore it. We can't put it on autopilot and look the other way. Okay? Please don't do that.
I love it. I love your sincerity. I love your passion. Like, y'all, like, go to YouTube and watch the video. Really look at her body language. Cause she said, like, I say it, I know when I be like, look, commingle, I be like angry, right? Sometimes I be like, y'all, I feel like I'm aggressive in this space, but it's not. It's truly passionate.
It's passion, yeah.
Because we really want to educate you all, because it is you on the hook. And I do tell people, getting you a good, if you can't get a CPA, you can't get an EA, you can't get a tax pro, go get you a really good bookkeeper. Because they're going to be your lifeline. Because if them books are right and you're in it
then
with
you
them,
can figure out the rest. Yes.
To the tax person will answer the right questions and find you a tax pro that will have you fill out an organizer. I tell people, my organizer my base organizer is like 120 questions long. And I'm asking you these questions because twofold. I have an auditor's mindset.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we are taking care of you from the audit perspective first. Yeah. So I audit your returns before they move anywhere, because I know what the IRS will ask. Truthfully, y'all, they tell us. There's ways for us to know if you're in a certain industry, the things that they're gonna be looking for is rules.
Exactly.
I done told you, it's loopholes out here. There's things that can save you money, but it's stuff that can get you actually stroking a check that you don't want to stroke because you're listening to bad advice. And so therefore, you cannot put the onus solely on the professional.
No.
Trust me, the IRS already doing it. They already getting us for fines. They'll take us to jail. And honey, I'll be honest. Some of us is not charging go to jail money. Okay, we're not charging go to jail fees, right? But then we have tools. We have tools such as ComplYant, right? Because Shiloh said, you know what? I saw the need. I see taxes going to be one of the biggest expenses you ever have in life. And if you're a business owner, they come at so many different tiers. So Shiloh, can you give the audience an understanding of what all ComplYant actually does and what taxes it helps them to stay in control of?
Absolutely. So one specific thing that we saw as a need early days was people would say to me, you don't know what you don't know. So we don't know how to figure it out. And so I made it my mission to be the problem that we solved was that you don't know what you don't know in tax.
Love it.
So I'll take it back a bit. Before I ever built anything, I started trading my time for business owners' time. So I would ask people that were not my clients. I'd say I give them an hour. I'll give you an hour of my time for free if you give me an hour of yours. And it worked like a charm. 200 people in a couple of hours filled my calendar.
Wow.
And I would just ask them, how did you learn about tax? You know, how were you doing your tax currently?
Great market research.
What do you know? All I did was market research for the first month or so, because I needed to figure out how I was going to position the solve of this problem. This is the beauty of tax. I knew there was a problem. I knew the tool was needed. I just needed to figure out how I could position it in front of people so that it would make sense to them. In order for me to do that, I needed to know what the problem was.
Let's stop, because that's unique. I'm going to tell you in this space, I've taken a lot of coaching, a lot of training, and I've never heard somebody say, so I do something similar because I got a lot of clients, but I've never heard it positioned this way, and I love it. Market research is key. And that was an awesome way to do market research. So y'all are out here for those who are trying to, you have this grandiose idea, like Jesus gave it to me in the middle of the night. I saw rainbow butterflies and be rich. Okay, because I know some of y'all, God gave it to me. Okay. And you don't have a lot of capital. But you do have time. And market research is a way for you to not have to do what the gurus say and put your ad spin out there to see where there's a need, where those gaps exist, so you can see if you feel it. So Shiloh said what she did was she traded her time for somebody else's time and was able to interview them, and they were able to get something for her in exchange because of her skill set. And she walked away, y'all. How many notebooks did you fill up, girl?
So we ended up talking to 200 customers, and all of those small business owners kept saying the same thing. They were like, I didn't really know what to do. I just created the business and I kind of just sat back and waited. And so the other thing I think is worth noting is that there is an idea that you have, and then there is a thing that people will buy, and those the two things often are not the same. Because you don't know how to sell actually anything to them. You have an idea for some software, and I know they need it. I'm an accountant. I know what you need, but the customer is like, we don't know. So what you put in front of them, they're not going to buy. And then people are like, well, why aren't you buying it? I know you need it, because you're not positioning it in a way that makes sense to them. So I had to understand the language they were using about the problem so that I could then position what they need in accordance to the language they were using, so it made sense to them. And so in those early days, we used that to basically lay out the framework of what the platform would do. So version 1 of the tool basically is what I call truncated tax code. So I'm gonna it's a little history lesson for y'all, a tax lesson for everybody who didn't want it. Tax code works like this. It's jurisdictional, it's statewide, it's federal, right? There are 3 tiers, we call them, of tax. And so right now, if you're a small business in whatever part of the world, you have to log on to the City of LA's website and figure out what you owe there. Then you have to go to the state of California and figure out what you need to do there. And then you have to go to the federal government and figure out what you need to do there. And at some point, pray you got it right, because you don't really know what you read, because it's all written for professionals, not for you. So what we did was we took all of that tax code, truncated it down, and put it in a searchable database. So and then we reworded it so that it could be in layman's terms.
I love it.
So basically, someone would come to the platform, a regular person, and say, I want to run an e-commerce site out of Sacramento, California, And then the site would then populate a fully built tax calendar with every tax code applicable to them. So it would say you owe sales tax in this county or city or state, you owe business tax in this city, you owe BPP because of your assets in this city, and all of that would then populate a tax calendar for the entire year. So now you know what tax types apply to you and how often to pay them. So in one foul set, that was the first goal of the project.
Love it.
And then we took that goal once we completed it and built on top of it. So now we have this, and then we also have something called tax budgeting. So now we take broad scale tax estimates. So we take tax rates and we basically like average them out so we can get them like a general number of basically based on what we know you're going to have to pay and based on your connected revenue, it looks like your sales tax numbers may be close to 10,000 for the quarter.
Okay.
Now that we've given them some broad estimates, we now start to think through teaching them how to save for those bills. So now we have something called Tax Wallet, which helps the business basically save by day and by week. So it splits the deposits out every time they get a deposit, and it moves the sales tax money into what's called, it's like an escrow account. And then it does the same thing for income tax. And then you can create some custom wallets for anything that you want to save for so that you're not overspending. One thing we heard a lot when we were interviewing was like, I know my sales tax bill is $10,000, but I don't have the money to pay it. The problem is with the state, they don't care because you did have the money. You had the money when you put it on the invoice. So in their mind, you've always had their money and you weren't allowed to keep it. But because our financial understanding is askew, we don't do that. We take whatever deposits we get in and we spend it all versus setting some piece of it that belongs to the state away. And then that's herein where people get caught up and then bills don't get paid and now you got harassment letters and it's a mess.
So we're mess with that trust fund recovery, y'all, or anything like that. All those certain monies that belong and are earmarked. So this happens a lot in payroll tax. I see a lot of people like, what? You don't want to end up in payroll jail. You don't want to end up in sales tax jail.
Nope.
That's not your monies. It's not your monies.
Not your money. Don't do it. Exactly right. So we've been working on that.
Allows you, so can I add? So ComplYant allows you to, does it sync with your bookkeeping? Does it sync with your bank account? What does it sync with to say, okay,
it syncs with your bank account. Yep, it syncs with your bank account and it syncs with your selling sources. So if you think about like Shopify or Etsy or Amazon or wherever you're selling, it syncs there. And we do that because what we have learned, we used to sync with bookkeeping, but people actually are not doing their books correctly. So we took that off the field and we just did selling sources, no bookkeeping. The other interesting thing that I think about tech that happens a lot is like accounting tech, which you'll see a lot of software. There's like FreshBooks and Xero and like all these tools that exist, but they're made for an accountant. They're made for a bookkeeper. Those tools are not made for small businesses. So when small businesses log into QuickBooks, they're like, I don't know what to do. And then they don't do anything or they do it wrong. And then they don't hire anybody. And then they're like, here's my book. And it's just gobbledygook. So we don't use it.
I like that though. I like it because, and I'm a QuickBooks Pro. Okay. So I'm not going, and I do have some bookkeeping clients, or accounting clients, right?
Yeah.
And I have run into that and they back themselves into it. And I'd be like, y'all, I gotta clean this stuff up because I don't know what y'all was doing. And Intuit will tell you, if you use any Intuit product, TurboTax, whatever, they will tell you. I know it's written in accountant-ese. And they will tell you, we create software. Like if you ever ask them, they're like, what is wrong? But we're a tech company. We're a software company. So if it's inaccurate, you can't sue us, right? That's why they put them disclaimers on it. Understand that we're software. We cannot necessarily say that we're accurate and take the place up. And so we know it's a big market and we know that Intuit is buying up everybody. They buying up everybody. So Shiloh, you know, as your stuff takes, you know, they probably got their eyes on you to be like, what? Okay, let's just be real. They buying up everybody.
They are.
I love the fact that you take them directly to their e-commerce or retail source because my client, I got clients and they're saying they understand those reports. Because this is what came in, this is what went out. This is what we try to teach people basic. That's what a P&L is. What came in,
Yep.
what did you
And what
spend,
went on?
and what's left over,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So I love that you get them right at the source, because your tech is for the business owner. You knew who you had in mind
Yeah.
when building it, because you could not serve everybody
No.
at the level you know they needed to be served at.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
I definitely.
Go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's important to understand your buyer more than anything else. Like more than more than what you're selling, more than the juju socks that you made. No, it's who's going to buy them, and then how are they going to wear them is the most. It will tailor what you make. Because if you make something and you hope someone will buy it, you're working sort of butt backwards. But if you understand who needs something and then you make it for them, now you have a tailored thing for a tailored group of people, and then those people will buy it because you already know they need it. And it's more of like a guaranteed shot to success if you work the other way.
I love it. Now, what happens or what does, because you mentioned you had a practice. Do you still have your practice on top of your tech, or are you just doing your tech?
Just tech. So interestingly enough, when I had the practice, I went back and forth about it every day for months and months, because when you a little bit about startup and venture capital. When you take in venture capital from investment firms, they expect that 100% of your life is now devoted to this company. They're giving you millions of dollars, and they want you to use this millions to make them hundreds of millions.
Okay.
So they don't want you distracted by anything else. If you even give the inclination that you have something else going on, they're like, no investment. So I had to make the decision. I was either going to hire a team and have the team run the firm, and then I was going to go full tilt into ComplYant. But the thing I knew about me is I wouldn't have done that. I would have been in both. I knew that I would have been trying to do both. My foot still would have been running my firm, and I still would have been trying to do ComplYant, and just both of them would have suffered. So what I ended up doing was connecting with a peer who had a firm similar to mine at the time, and I just blessed her with all my clients. And I said, "Here's the resource. She can handle whatever you need. Feel free to use her, or don't if you don't want to." About 80% of my clients ended up going over to her, and I had to apologize to my mentor. I'm like, "I know you gave me these clients. I'm so sorry, but I got $1.5 million to start this company, and I'm going to do that."
But you paid it forward. You paid, somebody blessed you. You paid it forward so that you can create greatness and keep somebody else be great too. That's a lesson for us, where we feel like we got to have all the things. You don't got to keep all the things. Like you can keep the stuff you really want to keep.
Yeah.
Let the other stuff go. Find them a home, or at least make a referral source for them to be able to get a connection.
Yeah.
So that you can focus. Shiloh, I needed to hear that, because I'm making some shifts, and I needed to hear, baby, it's okay to only do the stuff you like. It's
no,
okay,
it 100% is.
It's okay to be like, this is all we do now.
Yeah. And it helps you tailor and focus. Yeah.
On what
without that, you're only giving things a little bit of you when you stretch too thin. I think some of that too comes from our scarcity mindset. We have struggled as a culture. Like we don't understand wealth and success, the long tail of wealth and success. Right. We only know the current present of wealth and success. Right. And so the long tail of wealth and success is comfort. You're comfortable letting things go because you know it will come back to you. Yeah. You've never been without. But we have been without, and we're so scared to go back to without that we're holding it on to it all. But the problem is, freely I give, freely I receive. When you're in your hand, you allow things to come in it, just like things are leaving out of it. I love it. It is cyclical, and you don't allow anything to come in when you're holding on so tight to everything. And truthfully, you're burning the candle on both ends.
You prophesying, because I need Shiloh over here prophesying, all in my wheelhouse, stepping on my toes. I see why God rescheduled recording of this podcast, because he was like, I'm gonna hit you. I'm just gonna hit you. You're gonna get it. You're gonna understand. It's okay. It's
is.
okay.
Yeah.
And so for any other business owner out there,
Yeah.
Shiloh gave you permission to be like, it's okay
Yeah.
to offload certain stuff. It's
Yeah.
okay to do market research. It's okay to invest in unique and creative ways. It's okay to build. It's okay to ask the people what they want. It's okay. You don't got to look at what everybody else is doing. You can follow the blueprint. She said, this has been a couple of years and it will come to pass. We live in a world of abundance. That's what she told us, right? We live in a world of abundance and everything is already sitting in us. So I'm talking about people. If you're a believer, if you a brown woman, if you a black woman, if you a woman in business, you got to know it's okay to be able to bet on yourself and know that where you start out with, you will grow into the full capacity that has already been deposited in you. And I think a lot of times we are afraid of our greatness or somebody believing in our greatness and looking at it and saying, oh, who is she? Who is he to feel that way? What makes them better? And it's really because God said who I am is his and he already knitted me in his image. Y'all, like this is not a Christian one, but I'm gonna just drop it because this is what's in my spirit, right? That because you are his and you created his image and he had a purpose for you when you were knit in your mama's womb, that it's okay for you to be like, well, I'm gonna get a world the best version of me while I'm here and I still got breath in my body.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
Go grab it. The worst thing that can happen is somebody say, nah, or you got to do it again. Shiloh, what makes you, because I know you've had bumps and bruises. I know it's not easy. What keeps you going when you have, because every entrepreneur quits.
Sure.
At least once a day.
Maybe twice, depending on
that's it. Done. What do you tell yourself to be like, no, we got to do it? I'm carrying people with me. What makes you say, you know what, today we'll pull these panties up and I'm gonna still do it anyway?
That's it. We're gonna go. I don't have moments where I quit. And I don't because so when you're doing something as unique and as new as tech, so let me set a little background here. I raised a total of 5.5 million since the start of the company. And there are less than 200 Black women ever in the history of this country that have raised venture capital over $1 million. So to level set that, there are billions and billions and billions, hundreds of billions, probably trillions of dollars that's given out in venture capital, invested in white companies or other types of companies. A quarter of a tenth of a percent goes to Black-owned companies. To me, I have a duty. Like I have been blessed enough to be able to present as someone that the people with money feel comfortable investing in. Not all of my peers, not all of my folks have had that gift.
I love it.
And because I have that gift, I have an obligation to see this thing through and then to pour into other people that didn't get the chance. And if I don't get there and kick the door open to make sure my other folks can get investment and my other folks can build, then I didn't do right by the gifts I've been given. Everything that I've been able to do is a gift. My ability to speak well or present well or pitch well or whatever the thing is, all of these things have been gifts that have been given to me that have allowed me to be able to raise very, very tight environments. I have seen my peers, my Black peers, go through fundraising hell. I have seen people raise and raise and raise and never get $1. I have seen people be led on by venture funds and never get $1. And for me, it was relatively effortless. And I knew I had to do something with that. It isn't enough for it to be easy. It isn't enough for you to be good. It isn't enough for you to be fast. You have an obligation to use that gift and do something with it. Otherwise, what are we all doing? It's like sitting around and buying things we barely can afford to make people feel away because we have it and they don't. Like, that's pointless.
That's pointless.
For me, I want to use that gift. And so I don't let myself get to the point of feeling like I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit is not an option for me. For me, it's like, you will win. Like, that's inevitable. You will win. You and everybody listening, like, this isn't a matter of like some people are lucky and some people are not. No, if you see the people that are in the rooms I'm in, you would be shocked. Like, you are not that smart. How did you get here?
Yeah.
It's not, those rooms aren't filled with wonderfully brilliant people that just so happen to like exceed the realms of possibility. No, they just didn't quit. That's it. You just don't quit. You just decide that I'm going to set my eyes on the thing that I am aiming for, and I will go until I get there. Whether I have to like fight or like hustle or like muddle through the mud, doesn't matter. Days are hard. Every day is hard. Every day I'm tired. Every day I want to lay down. Every day I don't think I got it today. Oh,
Right.
every day. But you take that moment, you give yourself a moment to feel it. Don't deny yourself the
I love
feeling.
it.
Give yourself a moment to feel it, and then you get you a coffee, dust your shoulder off, and get to work.
I'm on. Put you some music on. Do whatever
That's
you got.
it. Do
You
what
got work to
you
do. If you got to give
do. You
yourself
got
a
work
time
to
out,
do.
give yourself a time out,
Listen, yes,
and then be like, all right, get back in there.
get back in there. That's it.
Self-talk. Get in the mirror, girl. You got it. I do it. Girl, what is wrong with you? We have to do this. Or you find an accountability partner, because I got one to be like, girl, I'm gonna quit. Girl, well, we both can't quit today. Normally that's our speech. I feel like quitting.
Yes.
So which one of us get to quit right now? Yeah. All right, you get to quit tomorrow. I get to quit today. All right, let's go.
There you go. Yes, I love that.
Gotta find you a business bestie that'll be like, today is not the day. Tomorrow, maybe I'm having my moment, so we both can't have it at the same time.
At the same time. I love that. We do. We have to keep going because the money is there. We just have to stand up and in our gifts. I love what you said earlier about us being afraid to like walk in what we know we can do.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
And that it really is, because in that fear we have been taken from so many times. Our souls, our spirits, our joy, our hope, our lives. We just keep getting taken from it. So we feel like, why would I try?
Right.
But there is a little bit of something there, that you can hold on to, that if you could just grab it, the other side is so much more freeing.
I love
and
it.
You don't have to live in the confines of that fear.
I love it. If we've been talking for a minute.
Oh, yes.
And I know you got other stuff to do. First of all,
yes, I do.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Because you are doing a great thing. I love it, like that whole concept. My eyes lit up when she was talking about the tax line, what it do and how it do its woo, child. For the people to find you, to people to find what you have. Yeah. There's ads on, like you can go directly to the website.
Oh yeah.
They will follow you on your Instagram and your Facebook.
It will follow you.
Okay. So the stuff is doing what it do. The pixels and the ads and the stuff is doing what it's doing. Okay. She got a wonderful product for those small business owners. And I know some of y'all are like, but I don't know. And I thought that was built in. I thought I was paying for it in my bookkeeping software. The peace of mind you get from knowing this is my calendar. Y'all heard it. It's a calendar. There's a wallet. There's a budget. And then you can have those conversations with the people that are at the different levels in the accounting field. Bookkeeper, the accountant, the CPA, the tax pro, so that y'all can all come together so that your business can thrive and you don't get unnecessary notices. ComplYant is out there. Go ahead and spell it for them, Shiloh. I'm gonna put it in the description, but spell it for them.
Okay. It's ComplYant.co. We are everywhere. ComplYant app, all the socials. You could find us. You can find me everywhere. Shiloh A Johnson. It's the same on every platform. I keep it simple.
Love it. And that big old Y is in the middle. Why? Yeah. I believe that Y is for you, because she wants y'all.
That's exactly what it is.
She wants y'all to be the best that y'all can be. She wants you to build legacy. She wants you to build a future. She wants you to keep going. She wants you to fight the good fight. She wants you to stay in compliance. Yeah. And she wants you to be the best version of you. So Shiloh, your team, your PR team, from your engineers, from your tax researchers, for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your partner, I say thank you for being able to pour into me today, to pour into my audience. I don't take you by happenstance. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those who need to get their stuff together, y'all, the information gonna be in the description. Y'all run, don't walk. Run, not walk. And if any of y'all my clients, y'all already know, I'll be like, your stuff is messy. I'm gonna need you to go on over there and go sign up for that and get it straight, so we can make sure that we can reduce those tax notices. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Love
Thank you,
it.
Shiloh. Thank you, your team.
You're very welcome.
Truly appreciate it. All right, y'all.
For
This is
sure.
the episode of Talks with the Tax Girl. Y'all, I'm working on the theme song. Y'all let me know if that was a bop. Because if it wasn't, then I'm gonna work with my tech team, aka my 17-year-old son, to give me one. All right. Talk to y'all later. Baby.